Hi guys, and welcome back to the JDHRacing channel. Hopefully you've had a chance to look through our previous episodes, but what have we got in store for you today? Well, we're working on Identity Crisis. As we mentioned before, we're trying to push that ready towards Street Weekend 2025 because she is in. So what have we got to do today? Well, we've written a dirty great big list on the window. That's probably not even remotely exhaustive, and all we're going to do is literally start making our way through and see when we get done. That's our base plate for bottom of our handbrake to mount to. It's now just a case of it's been more like that. So the rest there. So I'm going to mark some holes, taper the edges, clean it all up, then we'll get making onto the lower mounting piece and a bit of tube. So what we do, take the three pieces, work out the height and location of the cab, and then we'll go back and get it all nipped up. Okay, so as you can see, we've already got a handbrake in here, but it's not really it's not UK specifications for a MOT legal handbrake, and also it doesn't really operate that way. It's more of a drifting handbrake. So we're looking to remove that for the ratchet one that we've got here. So the base plate, as you can see, I've literally just placed in the centre here where the old nitrous bottle used to go, and sort of the aim is that that's going to bridge that gap there. And then we'll use our plate that we've made for the top of the for the actual handbrake mount itself. So it's not quite lined up on that, but you know, if you can picture it, it'll go basically somewhere about there. So it's in the middle, it's nice and free and clear. It's not going to catch on anything, easy to get to. So roughly eyeballing that, looks like I want about an inch. And I better didn't bring a pen with me. So let's not be gash. Let's at least remotely line that up. Hindsight, should have used some bolts. But, oh well. Always learn. And then what we'll do is pretty much about there. Cool. So now I've worked out that rough as anything, we'll get it welded up. So as you saw there, basically what I did was I roughly worked out a quick eyeball measurement of where we wanted to place the tube, and how much tube we needed to basically get at the desired height. So try and get it as central as possible. It's a free-handed drawing, it doesn't really matter too much per se, but yeah. What I'll do is I'll cut the bit of tube and then give those all a clean up, and then we'll look to get them welded, bolted, and in the car. Look at which end is the flattest. We'll start from there. Well, I say that I probably might just take a start, a little bit inboard, just take a bit off. Do you know what, I think I'm going to go a little bit higher. Let's go for 1.5 inches. Do is get this cut, get this cleaned up. So done there is just leveled it off and just created a nice little bevel around the edge of the tube. Just makes it quite nice and easy to weld and stuff to pull into. Got rid of any flakes on it so that it should sit nice. Now clean up these plates. Okay, so what I've done there is just bevel the edges, take off the sharp razor-like edges, and then just clean off the corners so there's nothing that's going to cut your hand, nothing that's nobody's going to get caught on. So what we'll do now is we'll line up the tube, weld the brackets together, and then get it welded in the car, painted, handbrake mounted, and the old handbrake removed, and then show you what it looks like. So the plan for today then is to rip apart the wiring and start to make it all good. So I've just started on the engine bay. So if you look at any previous pictures, we'll put some up in the video content. Just taking all the connections off of the starter solenoid from where the starter motor was originally for the caddy lump down there. However, it's now going to be down, I don't know if you can see it, down under there is where it's actually going to be. So we're going to re-loom all that in. So I've taken the connections to the line lock off. There was a fuel pump cable we'd run in sort of down the side there. That's now out. I've got the harness now for the front headlights. That's all sort of just sat across the front. That'll remain pretty much as is anyway. Connects into the family, the original lighting. We've got some cables on the floor that we've already ripped out. We'll end up replacing those. That's the relay for the fan. That's the alternator cable for recharging the batteries up. We've also got the cable there that comes off of the starter that then runs up to starter solenoid, because what we have got, and I'll show you inside, is an absolute mess of wires. But basically the power came off of the starter solenoid, came through the bulkhead just up there and up into this gaggle of wires over here. This is the, where are we? Yeah, that's the cable there, basically supplying, this one was the one that's supplying the power into the main fuse board. And one of the things we're going to do is run a separate line direct from the battery to the fuse board, because we had issues with the Phytec that when you crank the motor over on the caddy lump, I don't expect this will be any different because only a few cubic inches change. When you cranked it over, basically it used to cut the power to the Phytec because it needed a good stable 12 volts, and of course
because it was run from the starter motor up and into the fuse board, it took the easiest path through the starter motor, and the voltage was dropping right down, and it would literally cause all sorts of triggering issues. So we're going to do it proper-ish. Watch this space. So inside, little bit of a change from the rat's nest that's there before. It's going to be interesting to wire this up. I think it's going to be a good positive change as well. So you can see there we've got the original gauge cluster that was in the center of the console for your engine temperature, water, oil pressure, etc. That's going to remain in situ there. The sensor cables run through. So it's just the positive power supply and the lighting supply for those. And then coming through the bulkhead, we've got the original, I'll say original inverted commas, lighting that goes front and rear, and your brake pedal pressure switch there for brake lights. And then we've got the intercom cable running down there, and the plan is to run everything down into there to where the nitrous bottle was, because we don't have a nitrous bottle anymore. Obviously it's gone twin turbo. So the idea is to mount all the electrics, so it's nice and easy to get to down there. We had discussed about putting it into the passenger footwell over there. I'm always conscious of somebody kicking the electrics. Doesn't take much. Accidentally kick a relay with your foot, and obviously that's you out of the game. Something simple. So if we put it down there, it's out of the way, and then we'll have a nice little cover over the top, and then no doubt Daniel will want to put some sort of cup holder in the covers as well, or use as an armrest. We'll see what happens. But there we go. The starting point. So that's probably the easiest part done now. That's pretty much all ripped out. I'll show you some footage in a second of the wiring we've taken out and the sort of redundant parts. It's got to be done, as we mentioned before, because we need to put additional circuits in for the electric water pump, for the meth kit, etc. So there's a fair bit that needs to go on, and there's an absolute rat's nest under there. And obviously what we want to do is make it more reliable, easy to get to, so if we do get an electrical faults on the road, especially during street weekend, we can very easily get to the wiring and, I won't say jerry rig something, but fault diagnose and carry out the corrective maintenance. So one of the things we've had to do is, if I just walk down to the back of the car, is I mentioned earlier that the starter motor is based on the opposite side from a Chevy to the Mopar lump. And obviously our battery cable came in from the front, went from the batteries down to the starter motor, which is on the passenger side. And obviously we need it to be the driver's side. So one of the cheapest, easiest fix I've done so far is basically, if I show you the... So if I show you where the batteries are, excuse all the mess. Like I say, it's a work in progress. So we've got one on the driver's side, one on the passenger side. And myself and Daniel have had some discussions as to whether we're going to move them from behind the rear wheels to basically where the parts depot currently is up there. But basically we had the, we've got the connector underneath. Let me just show you that. So there's your, it says, I don't know if you can see it. There's the emergency shut off just up there. Obviously need sticker on above it for racing, but we ended up with the driver's side battery went into the cut-off switch, and then from there it then runs basically underneath the floor and all the way up there to the passenger side. So what I've done is a little bit of a cheat. I've just taken the cable that was on the driver's side that went to the switch, pulled it out, reversed it round, so it now goes from the passenger side battery underneath the floor and into where the cut-off switch is over there, and then all this remaining wire will be the same. And then what I've done, you'll see it running on the floor down here, is I've pulled the battery cable out from the passenger side chassis rail. It's currently just running along the floor at the moment, and we're going to feed that back through and run it to the front, and then hopefully that will be our main starter power, and it's long enough. It just saves buying some more cable. This stuff's not cheap. It's a couple £100 worth of cable there, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, so why not reuse it? And we'll give a little bit of a clean up on all the terminals and that sort of stuff.
So guys, hopefully you've enjoyed watching us do a little bit of tinkering today on the identity crisis. We managed to get a few things ticked off of our massive list. Still loads to go, but you know, most importantly, the wall myth kit is now plumbed in. It's not wired, but all the wire has pretty much been stripped out of the truck, ready for a revamp, a lot more safer and a lot more easier to work on revamp. We've also got the trans cooler that is now mounted. Trans lines are cut and run front to back, so some good progress. And we've also swapped out the handbrake today. As always, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Please drop a comment below with anything you'd like to see in the future or anything we could do better. And stay tuned, and hopefully next week we'll have another episode for you. See you.